other things that I was doing with emerging technologies during February, planning courses to teach Science 2.0 concepts and to try to do outreach and skills building with our faculty and research community, working with the accessibility community and discovering tools to make YouTube more accessible to people with special needs, and a discussion about Metapedia as an online database or wiki for medical information and education. And the bottom corner is there's a health communications marketing group that meets every Sunday night on Twitter and has this incredible discussion, really rich resources. Just, there's some amazing stuff going on. Okay, so that's part of what's going on out there, and part of what I'm doing, how I'm engaging with it, and how I see it as part of a librarian's job. But is it really part of our client communities? Are our faculty involved with it? So this is a search I did to help find social media in PubMed, which is my main database, Medline. There's no good way to discover social media in the database because there's no formal terminology for it. So I took months to sort of fine-tune this search, and this is its current version. I'm guessing I'll probably change it again. These are some of the titles of articles in the database that have come up recently. And they show this fascinating range and scope of what medical professionals are looking at as far as research and peer-reviewed publications looking at the use of social media either for data or for educating patrons or doing outreach or training or all of the various functions. It's just this incredible range. Some synopsis data. I wanted to show you how it scopes out by year, that it seems to be basically doubling every year the number of articles. So it's not like a large number at this point, but it's definitely growing and becoming more prominent. I see this as a significant trend. I also found it really interesting looking at how the individual terms parsed out within this. Where was the emphasis of attention from the people writing the articles? So the biggest concept were people just saying Web 2.0, as this sort of broad umbrella term. So you would expect that to be the biggest. But then the next biggest concept was virtual worlds. And that really surprised me, that this is where there's a lot of attention. And after that, wikis and Wikipedia, MySpace, YouTube. If I put Facebook together with MySpace, it would probably be even a little bit higher. But those seemed to be where they're really putting a lot of their attention. And that says to me that maybe we should be paying attention. Okay, a little digression here. I've been trying to come up with a model to explain where the different populations are putting their attention and where are different spaces, and kind of a model of social spaces where we live in one way or another. So this was how I spent my morning, doodling on the back of an envelope, trying to put my concepts together. And I'm going to take just a minute and talk through some of this. So I don't have any pretty graphics, and I couldn't find any colored pens, so I found a box of crayons, and I drew this out with crayons. So talking about it a minute here. Okay, this bottom quadrant is where we started. This is the offline social context. And what I have, each quadrant has a space for individuals, tasks, and communities. Below the horizon is sort of our recent past, and above the horizon is the media that we're using currently. To the left side are the common space resources where we tend to all be at least part of the time. And over on the other hemisphere, we have what I am thinking of as discrete spaces, which may be for a niche community. They may be more secured. They're in some way more granular or more discrete than the other spaces. So, plugging some things in, and I wish I had a nice drawn up pretty graphic for you. But individual, this would be people talking to people. So like face to face. Tasks would be like small groups working on a specific function. And community spaces would be like this would be a task space here. We've got some special purpose that we're working on. And the community spaces would be like the universities, the churches, the religions, the clubs, the big, towns, villages, the big community spaces. So that's the general idea of how those pieces break out. This second quadrant here is the early online social spaces. So individual would be, for example, email. Task-oriented would be, think of your mailing lists and your secured forums, which we've had for at least a decade or more now. Probably, well, almost 2 decades. Almost. Come on, give me my pointer. Okay, my mouse went away. And the community space would be those lists that were archived publicly on the web and the BBS's, bulletin boards, online forums, things like that. Moving up above the curve into the specialty spaces there. So we're getting more into the social media space here. And the individual tools would be, for example, Google Docs or tools like that where you're using for yourself or with a small, very small group of people. So the more, boy, I wrote this all down on the back of the envelope. I kind of want to go back and look at the envelope for a second. Right, okay. Support research teams, support groups, small online communities, very discrete, that have a specific function they're moving towards. And then the community spaces would be the broader sort of social networking, but for a specific group, like CERMO for doctors, Dental Town for dentists. There's all of these specialty NING networks for special communities. So I'm seeing those sort of niche community spaces as falling in this quadrant. And then the final quadrant is where we're going to find the big name stuff. Like the individual space would be like Facebook and Twitter. And because that whole quadrant there is really communal, the idea of a community space is sort of shifting here. So the individual space is more tools for connecting individuals with individuals, even though they may do more than that. And the task space would be like the social media tools like YouTube and Twitter. And the community tools would be the aggregation tools that let you multiply post broadcast across a lot of different spaces or gather from a lot of different spaces. So friend feed, hello text, ping, tools like that would fall in that space. Now, what I liked about having this all be sort of circular is what I'm hearing from a lot of people is that social media, if it doesn't at some point make you want to meet the people face to face, it's failing to do its job or you're not using it right. So the idea is that this then moves back into the face-to-face communication. Now, why I wanted to create this model is because I want to talk about the communities, and the communities put their emphasis in different spaces, different quadrants of this model. So I'm going to go talk about communities. I don't have a little copy of the model at the top of each screen, so you can just sort of imagine it.